Hello and welcome to the first ever brand new premiere episode of the Cook Memorial Public Library podcast.
Woo-hoo.
Thank you for subscribing, and we hope you'll continue to follow us for book recommendations, interesting discussions, and library news. I am Nate Goss, librarian here at Cook Library, and I am sitting here with Andrea Larson, the head of our Popular Services Department. Hi, Andrea.
Hello.
Book expert Andrea is here to help us kick off this podcast with her book pick of the week. So why don't we go ahead and just jump right in. Andrea, what is the book that you think everyone should check out this week?
It's called The Readers of Broken Wheel Recommend, and the author is Katarina Byvald. She's a Swedish author.
No spoilers, but really quickly, what's this book about?
It's about a young woman from Sweden who starts corresponding with a woman who lives in a small town in Iowa. They become pen pals, and mostly they write to each other about books. So Sarah, the young Swedish woman, gets invited to stay with her pen pal in Iowa for 2 months. However, when she finally arrives in Iowa, as it turns out, her pen pal has died. And so poor Sarah is stuck in this little tiny town in the middle of nowhere in Iowa. The townspeople kind of take pity on her because she's sort of lost, and they allow her to stay in her pen pal's house. And things sort of progress from there. And
so is this like a mystery then, or
it's not a mystery?
Okay.
No, it's more of just a charming small story about individuals in a small town and how this stranger from Sweden manages to transform this sleepy, dying little town.
All right, so maybe you could tell us then, why are you recommending The Readers of Broken Wheel Recommend?
I'm recommending this because it's a book that's heartwarming, but it's not a cliche. It's a gentle read, but it's not overly saccharine. It's got characters that you will just absolutely fall in love with, especially Sarah, the young main character, and just a great variety of people who do kind of funny things. There's a great amount of humor in the book, too.
What was it about this book that made you choose it at the time? Was it the author? Have you read anything by this author before? Or what was it that led you to this book?
No, not at all. I hadn't heard of the author. And in fact, this book came to me in a very different way. I actually was emailed by the publisher.
Okay.
They had seen that I had read and reviewed some similar books, and they said, hey, would you like to read this for us and review it? And I said, well, okay. That was the first for me. And so they sent me a galley copy. I mean, literally, it's not even bound. It's got like the plastic spiral thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's a debut author. And so I took it on because I do enjoy sort of gentle, cozy stories as well. So yeah, it turned out to be a real gem.
Not only did you get to read it, but you actually are recommending it now.
I am. And a lot of other librarians have liked it as well, because this got chosen as one of the books for the January Library Reads. And Library Reads is a listing of the top new books chosen by librarians across the country. One other thing that I wanted to add about why I like this book is it's an ode to books. Because the whole premise of it is that these two women, the pen pals, are book lovers, and that's the thing that they have in common. And one of the things that Sarah does in the small town of Broken Wheel is she opens a bookstore. And so this novel is filled with references to books. Like every other page is a reference to a different book, and all kinds of books, from Chick lit to Proust. Everything is in there. So it's really fun in that way, too.
There's something in there for everyone,
it
seems like.
Yeah.
Just so we can even get a better idea of where this sort of fits in, what are a few other books that maybe if someone has read, they're going to like this book, or if they do like this book, what would be maybe something they could read afterwards that would be similar?
Oh, absolutely. I think that anyone who has read Jan Karon and liked her series, her Mitford series, would really like this book. Another read-alike might be Major Pettigrew's Last Stand by Helen Simonson. Another one would be The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry by Rachel Joyce.
One of our book club books.
That is, yes. Yeah. Yep.
Great. Anything else you want to add?
I just would highly recommend this. It's a charming, funny, quirky book with even a little bit of romance thrown in.
Ooh, all right. Well, thank you for your time, Andrea. We really appreciate that, and we look forward to many more book recommendations to come. If you want to check out The Readers of Broken Wheel Recommend by Katerina
Bivald.
Okay, thanks.
I think.
By Katerina Bivald. Or explore any of our collection online, head over to www.cooklib.org. Also, be sure to visit Shelf Life, the library's blog, where a whole gang of librarians share their recommendations and write about library happenings, genealogy tips, local history, and more. That blog can be found over at shelflife.cooklib.org. If you'd like to share some feedback or get in touch with us, shoot us an email, webmaster@cooklib.org, and support the podcast. Tell your friends or leave us a rating on iTunes. Every kind word helps. So we want to thank you again for listening or subscribing. We will be back soon. Until then, keep reading, keep watching, and keep listening.